The Nike Hoop Summit has showcased some of the brightest future collegiate and professional stars. A young Kevin Garnett in '95, 18-year-old French guard Tony Parker in 2000, future Atlanta Hawk Josh Smith in '04. Then a year later, Tyler Hansbrough. In 2005, future NBA Rookie of the Year Kevin Durant, followed by O.J. Mayo in '07. DeMar DeRozan starred for USA in '08, while France's Alexis Ajinka dominated inside. And last year, USA's John Wall ran point for USA, but Serbia's Milan Machvan led the world to victory. So who will star tonight in Portland? Perhaps 6'8" guard forward Harrison Barnes from Iowa, or 2010 National Player of the Year Jared Sullinger from Ohio, or maybe World Team point guard Corey Joseph from Toronto. The best teenage players in the world meet right now in the 2010 Nike Hoop Summit. You are looking at a beautiful shot of Mount Hood outside Portland, Oregon, where we come to you from the Rose Garden for the Nike Hoop Summit. It's the World Select Team against the USA Junior National Team. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. This is PJ Carlesimo, and this is a guy with a great deal of international experience from the Pan Am Games to the Olympic Games. He was a Final Four coach in college, but last year the world team beat the USA. And I think the USA is coming in here with a major chip on their shoulder.
No question about it, Steve. That's all they've talked about this week. The coaches and the players very much aware. After 9 straight wins for the U.S. in the Nike Hoop Summit last year, the world team, great fourth quarter comeback, beat the United States. These players are embarrassed by that. They don't want it to happen again. They've worked very hard at practice. They're intent on a win for the United States this evening.
Well, you talk about the best in America. How about Jared Sullinger, Naismith Award winner as the top high school player in the country?
Not just the Naismith Award winner, also the Parade Magazine Player of the Year, a 2-time Mr. Ohio basketball, led his Northland High School team. See him in action here against Findlay Prep, has 2 players on the World Select Team today, but this is the dominant big man in high school basketball in the United States. 22 points, led the scores in the McDonald's All-American game. You look at his scouting report of what you're going to expect from Jared Sullinger. Deceptively athletic, quicker than you would think, very good passer and ball handler, spin, power moves inside, can overpower you, or he can beat you with fundamentals. He's going to be a very impressive young player for Thad Matta and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
But the big guys have to have the little guys get him the basketball. That means the All-American point guard, a guy like Brandon Knight, and this guy's outstanding scoring and assisting.
Well, this is a 2-time Gatorade National Player of the Year. Talk about point guard. This is a points guard. Those are 40 he's putting up on a regular basis. Brandon Knight can pass it, can score it, can also board. One of the few uncommitted guys in the game, and you see him here in the McDonald's game a week ago in Columbus. That's the game winner, a 3-pointer with the game on the line. This is the type of shot Brandon Knight has made a career of already, and he's just finishing high school.
And that All-American Brandon Knight from the state of Florida is with the 3rd member of our broadcast team, and that's Rebecca Harlow.
A very big moment in Brandon Knight's career has just occurred. You told me that putting on this USA jersey for the first time was going to be special. What did that mean to you?
It meant a lot, to play for your country. It's a great honor, and to just represent the USA where you're born and where you've been raised. So it's a great experience, and I plan to play as hard as I can and bring a win to USA.
All week long from Team USA, I've been hearing redemption, revenge. Talk about why it's so important to get this win back from the world team.
Oh, just important just because, like I said before, just having that pride in your country, this is where we're born, where we're raised. And so we just want to, play as hard as we can for the place that we live at.
There's one question on the minds all across America. Where is Brandon Knight going to college?
That's what I plan to decide very soon. I have a couple schools on my list, and I'm trying to focus on the game right now, but I plan on making that decision soon.
Before we let you go, give me a couple of those schools that you're considering.
Kentucky, Kansas, Syracuse, UConn, and Florida.
Those schools certainly have their fingers crossed for Brandon Knight, Fizz.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. And that's a guy who knew all 5 schools. Now, the world team comes in with a great deal of U.S. experience. 4 of their players played their high school basketball in the States, including 2 who were stars at Findlay Prep in Nevada.
And I think that's going to be a big advantage. Corey Joseph and Tristan Thompson know these players. They played with them in the McDonald's game last week. They're going to play with them in the Jordan Brand Classic. So there's no fear. There's no not knowing what they're going to expect. They know they're capable of playing with these guys. Corey Joseph also, like Brandon Knight, uncommitted. That's a big signing for some U.S. college.
And Tristan Thompson wants to grab him and take him to Texas with him. Well, we've got the Nike Hoop Summit. It's a great classic. And this contest is the 13th game with the U.S. leading 9 victories to 3. We'll meet the players when we come back to Portland, Oregon. Hoop Summit from Portland, Oregon is brought to you by Nike Basketball and by USA Basketball. Welcome back to Portland, Oregon for the 13th annual Nike Hoop Summit. Let's check the USA Junior National Team and the coaches presented by Nike.
Kendall Marshall, Dumfries, Virginia, point guard.
Kyrie Irving, West Orange, New Jersey, point guard.
Will Barton, Baltimore, Maryland, shooting guard.
Harrison Barnes, Ames, Iowa, small forward.
Terrence Jones, Portland, Oregon, forward.
Reggie Bullock, Kinston, North Carolina, shooting guard.
Patrick Young, Jacksonville, Florida, power forward.
Brandon Knight, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, point guard.
Tobias Harris, Dick Sills, New York, forward.
Jared Sullinger, Columbus, Ohio, power forward.
Myers Leonard, Robinson, Illinois, power forward.
Rich Gray, St. Louis Eagles, St. Louis, Missouri, USA Basketball, assistant coach.
Bob Semino, Mount Vernon High School, Mount Vernon, New York, USA head coach.
Now the World All-Stars and their coaches, 10 players from 9 countries, presented by Nike.
Jason Kidd, Australia, point guard.
Duye Dukin, Croatia, guard.
Sweden, China, guard. Marie Lebrun, France, guard.
Corey Joseph, Canada, point guard.
Tristan Thompson, Canada, forward.
Enes Kanter, forward, Turkey.
Nikola Mirotic, Montenegro,
forward, Rob Lowe, New Zealand. Forward,
Dejan Musli, Serbia, Kanter.
Marin Sedlacek, Serbia, assistant coach of world team.
Rob Beveridge, Australia, head coach, world team.
The USA must make adjustments from high school and NCAA rules to international rules, PJ.
Well, the big one, 24 seconds will be a little bit different for them. You can touch the ball above the rim. People are used to watching that. And the other one that might come into play, that 8 second to get it across the line. They're used to 10. If they forget about that, that can be a problem also. Wider lane also, the trapezoid lane, which we're used to watching in international play.
The USA leads the first 12 games of this series, 9 victories to 3, but they lost last year 97-89 before a record crowd of 11,246 here at the Rose Garden. Steve Fiziak again with PJ Carlesimo. The ball is in the air. It's controlled by USA, and this is Brandon Knight, talent point guard from Fort Lauderdale, as he said, but played at Pinecrest High School, and he is undecided where he will play his college basketball. Harrison Barnes is going to North Carolina, knocks down a 3, and he has a pretty looking shot.
Talking to Roy Williams yesterday, Fizz, he said Harrison Barnes can score. We see that right out of the box.
He was an absolutely sensational star at Ames, Iowa. Here's the USA with a steal, and Kyrie Irving, who's going to go to the national champion Duke Blue Devils next year.
A strong ACC flavor here. We've got 3 Tar Heels and a Blue Devil on the same team.
Corey Joseph out of Findlay Prep. He's still trying to make a decision where he's going to play basketball in the States. Mirotic outside scores the 3. That's Nikola Mirotic, who played for famous Valencia in Spain, even though he is out of Montenegro. Barnes misses everything, and the rebound is controlled by the World Select team. I think Corey Joseph is going to be awfully big because outside of Joseph, they don't have physical point guards on the world team.
Corey Joseph also has no fear. He's played against and with these players. He can get the ball up the court. In past years, the U.S. has had some success pressing and not letting the world team get it in or get it up the floor. Corey Joseph should be able to handle that. 2-3 zone for the world team. You know they don't want to match up man-to-man against the United States.
They take the long-distance 3 that is missed badly by Brandon Knight. 5-5 scores. Kyrie Irving was able to take it coast to coast.
Again, Jared Sullinger puts it in his hand. Kyrie Irving knows what to do. Crossover and spin. He can get it coast to coast.
PJ, I was talking with you earlier about coaching for the Pan Am Games and the Olympic Games. How difficult is it for a coach to put together individuals in such a short time as a team?
It's very, very difficult. Oh! Kyrie Irving, good job pushing it up. Jared Sullinger's upset, thought it was goaltending, but again, in international, ball's above the cylinder, you can get it.
So how does a coach do that, put the team together so quickly?
Well, that's always been the disadvantage for the United States in international competitions, that the teams don't play together enough. The world team, the other teams, other countries, those teams are used to playing together from a young age. This is the first step in that process as Brandon Knight gets out. U.S. doing a good job pushing the ball, but what the United States has tried to do now is get these players together and keep them together for a number of years. And this is the initial process, this junior national team, because that's been the problem as the countries have caught up. It's because they've kept teams together for years and years. The same group has been together, often with the same coach.
Dejan Musli with the miss, and USA comes up with it. Harrison Barnes out top to Irving. This is his first 3-point attempt. This is Nikola Mirotic, 7-foot, 240-pound center from Spain. We told you he has that citizenship he just picked up from Spain because they want him playing on their national team.
Beautiful pass by Corey Joseph, pick and roll right there. Again, Dejan Musli is a good player. That's excellent pick and roll coverage right there. Back on the history of this series, 9-3. But again, that losing streak, the world team was looked like they weren't going to win. In fact, for a good part of last year's game, they trailed, looked like they were outclassed, and then, led by their bigs, they just took the game over in the fourth quarter, and U.S. got a little complacent, and the game got away from them. That's an advantage for the U.S. this year. That's all the coaches and players have talked about since they arrived in Portland. We're not going to let that happen again. But you see already the world team sitting back in their zone. The U.S. team will settle for the perimeter shot. The world team be happy if they do that. They want this game in the half court. They don't want to try and run up and down the floor to quit the U.S. players.
We also saw a difference in the rules where the players entered the lane before the ball left the shooter's hand.
Much quicker, much sooner than we're used to seeing in the United States. Once the ball leaves your hand internationally, you see the ball cheat in because there can't be a violation if the ball goes in the basket. If the ball doesn't go in, they'll call the violation, but they'll call it late. So everybody cheats in internationally.
Now, the world team won in 1996, 1998, and again last year. That was despite marvelous performance by John Wall. Here's Barnes taking the jump shot and missing. It is controlled by Musli. The 7-footer shows he can really put the ball to the floor. Dukin is in the game. Duyen Dukin. And Dukin has a fine outside shot, but he misses. The rebound is controlled by Mirotic, and he lays it in.
Good size underneath for the international team.
Mirotic.
Bob Beveridge immediately tells Corey Joseph, walk it up the floor, walk it up. We don't want to run up and down with these guys. He loves the start the international team has.
And they're the two guys who played together in Canada since the age of 12, Tristan Thompson and Corey Joseph. Joseph misses the layup. Our officials are also international. We have one from the States, Rick Batzel, who has we've seen in the Pac-10 conference, Jose Carrion from Puerto Rico, and Mike Thompson from Canada. They'll have 2 timeouts in the first half, 3 for the second half.
Mike Thompson just a little north of here from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Going against that zone, this is Irving. Oh! Missing the 3, but Sullinger is there, and he is a load inside.
He's got such good feet. I love watching Jared Sullinger inside. He's lost weight. He's going to get even stronger. Of course, plays for his father, the legendary Sad Sullinger at Northland High School. He's only going to get better. And I love his back to the basket or putting the ball on the floor. You think he's not quick enough to go by it, and you blink and he's gone.
This story amazing because it's the first time in high school history nationally where a player, Sullinger, got National Player of the Year, and his father was named Coach of the Year.
Well, it's just an amazing family. Sad Sullinger, his father, actually worked for ABA USA, the precursor of USA basketball years and years ago. And he's got an older brother, JJ, that played at Arkansas at Ohio State, another brother, Julian, that played at Kent State. So just an amazing basketball family in Ohio.
Nice move inside. Beautiful play by Harrison Barnes on his way to North Carolina out of Ames, Iowa. He never lost the last 2 years. 53-0 in high school the last 2 years for Harrison Barnes at Ames High School. Sure, there was a loss for Iowa State.
He's also him. The Morgan Wooten Player of the Year. Again, Ennis Kanter, the bigs, international bigs, can always shoot the ball.
And a nice play, and this time it's Terrence Jones off the bench. Portland Jefferson, where he just led his team to their 3rd straight state championship for the state of Oregon. Jones undecided on where he's going to play his college basketball. He's narrowed it down to 3 Pac-10 schools and 2 others, and that ball knocked away by Patrick Young.
Got clock down to 4.
Violation, so we'll take a timeout here with 4:06 remaining in the first quarter. And the world team right now has a 1-point lead, but Jared Sullinger keeping the States close. Nike Hoop Summit. We come to you from the Rose Garden in Portland, Oregon. Steve Fiziak, PJ Carlesimo, and let's go to our sideline reporter, Rebecca Harlow.
Fiz, I'm down here with Tobias Harris, who is not used to spending much time on the bench. Tobias, I know this is really tough for you to be just watching the team tonight.
Yes, it has been, but, all the guys have really been working hard throughout practices and stuff. So, I'm just here for support and just encouraging the guys on.
We just got a shot of your broken foot. Give us an update on how you're doing. I expect you'll be ready for Tennessee next year.
Yeah, I'm going to be out for 6 weeks, but I'm just going to look to rehab it strong and come back stronger.
What's amazing about your decision to come to this game is that you didn't have to be here, but you wanted to be part of Team USA. You chose to come out anyway.
It's about Team USA and our country, and we'll never miss something like this, and I'm here to support the guys and just encourage them and get this win.
Close game on hand right now. What do you need your team to do down the stretch of this quarter?
We just need to execute in their zone and just keep playing great defense.
Good luck next year at Tennessee, Tobias. Fiz, we wish we had this guy on the floor.
No question about it, Rebecca, and he is a remarkable young man as we see Brandon Knight put the three-point shot in. Tobias Harris, his original number was going to be 10. He asked to switch it to 12 in honor of his friend, PJ. His name's Morgan Childs, who passed away with a rare blood disease at the age of 16, so he said, I want to wear his number.
I tell you, Tobias Harris, like a lot of players this week, and not being Chamber of Commerce, this is an impressive group of young men. I've really enjoyed getting a chance to know Tobias Harris. He's going to be a special player for Bruce Pearl in Tennessee, but from Half Hollow Hills High School, back on the East Coast where I used to live on Long Island. He can shoot it, he's touch ball, he can run the floor. Delightful personality. He's going to be in the Jordan Brand Classic next week at the Garden. Again, he'll be there participating. It'll be a lot shorter trip from Long Island than the one he had this week.
We just saw some fine defense by Myers Leonard, who replaced Tobias Harris, and defensively just got a great block. He's 7 feet tall from Robertson High School in Illinois, and he'll be a Fight in the Illini member next year.
Bruce Weber's going to love him. He did a good job right there. Cut off Enes Kanter. Enes Kanter's headed to University of Kentucky from Turkey, from Istanbul to Lexington, Kentucky. That's a nice trip.
And you can see the players and the schools they've committed to next year on the call at the bottom of your screen. Here's the outside shot by Kendall Marshall, one of 3 Tar Heels next year, and he's an outstanding point guard out of Arlington, Virginia.
Players love playing with him. He's a pass-first point guard.
How about that? The 3 guys going to North Carolina all won state championships. Bullock for North Carolina, Marshall for Virginia, and Barnes for Iowa. So Roy Williams got 3 winners coming into his program.
He's got 3 winners, and he's got a couple guys that are going to help him right away. Reggie Bullock and Harrison Barnes in particular. They're scorers and they're shooters, and Roy Williams really needs that. They're going to be impact players in Carolina, I think, right away. It's unusual in the ACC. Those 2 are capable of doing it.
Bullock is in the game now. He wears number 9. And he's in with Kendall Marshall, that other guy, Tar Heel, and that was a nice drive by Mile LeBrun out of France.
Everybody likens him to Tony Parker. He's got, to me, he's got different size, different. Beautiful pass. We talked about Kendall Marshall, how he sees the floor, finds Myers Leonard behind the zone.
Some scouts say that Kendall is the best passer and playmaker in the 2010 class. Kadee, Jason Kadee, missing the 3. The ball goes out of bounds. It still belongs to the World Select Team.
Well, this is a way to chew up the zone right now when you've got a point guard on top with good vision and find people down there behind the basket.
They get it low. Enes Kanter will be going to Kentucky next year, drops it in.
Enes Kanter adjusted. The last time Myers Leonard cut him off, this time he came to a jump stop, used a pump fake. Good play.
This is Sui Ran. Gives it up to Kadee, who scores. Sui Ran out of China.
The guards can play internationally also, not just in the States.
Staying in that zone. USA by 1. This is Reggie Bullock, who's one of the top 3-point shooters in high school basketball this year.
Reggie was the runner-up to Corey Joseph in the 3-point contest at the McDonald's game, but he used to get a game this year where he knocked down 8 threes.
Still think he finished runner-up in that 3-point shooting contest at the McDonald's Classic. Rand with the steal. LeBron has it stripped from him by Marshall. It goes out of bounds. He'll still belong to the World Select team. The USA right now leading by 4 with 1:20 remaining in the first quarter. The World team has 10 players from 9 countries across 4 continents. They get it inside, and it's Kanter. Well, Kentucky lost Cousins. Kanter might be the next big man they need.
Cousins, they lost Patterson, Gordon. Waiting to find out what's going to happen. But again, Jason Kadee from Australia, beautiful pick and roll. And another good pass. U.S. team moving the ball very well. That time it was Terrence Jones from Portland. High-low pass to Myers-Leonard. They're moving Myers-Leonard behind the ball. All week in practice, these bigs can pass. Look at Terrence Jones. That's a real good feed and good movement without the ball from Myers-Leonard. Jared Sullinger, Terrence Jones, and Myers-Leonard have really impressed me with their ball handling. High-low passes as they've worked. Bob Cimino, the coach of Mount Vernon, has worked against the 2-3 zone all week in anticipation of the World Team playing zone.
It was interesting talking to Bob about how he prepares with all-star kids, and he said, well, the first day what I do is I'm pretty laid back because I want to see who emerges as a leader of the team.
He was thrilled with the leadership. Both of these coaches bragging about their point guards, not just ball handlers and guys who run a team, but kind of guys that are out to tell the players where to go, communicate really well. Players, you're a coach and you've got some leadership on the floor, and that cliche coaches on the floor. Some point guards just don't talk, and they're not team leaders. There's about 5 of them between these 2 teams that are very good with those leadership skills.
Marshall getting it in the middle of that zone to Terrence Jones. They're swinging around to Bullock, who's their best 3 shooter, and it's in and out. But there is Jones putting it back up and in. Terrence Jones, he has narrowed it down to UCLA, Oklahoma, Washington, Kentucky, and Oregon on where he wants to play his college basketball. And he said he would announce that either April 23rd or the 30th. I don't know why those days are important, but that's what he said. Here's Kanter. Left hand will not go.
Terrence Jones did something that no one's ever done in the state of Oregon. 3-time state champion at the 5A or 6A level at Jefferson High School.
Run with the steal. He gets the shot off the top hand and almost goes and it's the back of the iron. And I saw USA coach Bob Cimino say, wow. It's a 5-point lead for the USA junior national team. This was the scene before the contest, and right now the junior nationals lead by 5 over the World Select. And Nike Hoop Summit, the USA leading the world team 25-20. The 2004 Nike Hoop Summit game in San Antonio featured 4 players now starring in the NBA. Future Minnesota Timberwolves forward Al Jefferson dominated the paint with 13 points and 7 rebounds. Future Denver Nuggets guard J.R. Smith showed his athletic ability with 17. Today, Sebastian Telfair plays for Cleveland. But in 2004, he led the Team USA with 7 assists. Empty one right there. The game's most outstanding player was future Atlanta Hawk and NBA slam dunk champion Josh Smith, who scored 27 points and grabbed 16 rebounds in Team USA's 99-79 victory.
Representing my country in the Nike Hoop Summit game is a dream. It's a dream that everybody has if you're an athlete in basketball, hockey, soccer, anything, just to be a part of something that you can make great and be a part of history.
We have seen the absolute best play in this game. As a matter of fact, 99 former USA and World Select Team members have been drafted by NBA teams. And I am sure, as we saw yesterday, PJ, at the Portland Trail Blazers practice facility where both teams prepared, the arena was ringed with scouts from every single NBA team.
All 30 NBA teams in attendance is Jared Sullinger. Easy 2 points inside. All 30 teams, general managers, director of player personnel, directors of international scouting, they're all looking. Out of this game, 3 first round, 3 number 1 picks, 5 number 2 picks. One year they had 7 of the top 20 come out of this game. So there's no question these are the best players at this age group in the world.
Better defense right now by the U.S. team. 4 seconds left in the shot clock. They get it down low. And this is Musli, and he knocks it down, which is 1 second left on the shot clock to make it a 5-point deficit. Marshall remains the point for the USA team.
Impressed with the guard play of the international players.
Bullock missing the 3. And Reggie made sure he had his pronunciation of his name down. It's not Bullock, he said it's Bullock. Sullinger there to tap it home. He is a load. He reminds me of a bigger Adrian Dantley.
That's a good comparison, but again, the quick feet, you're not moving him out of there. Once Jared Sullinger gets anchored underneath, you're not going to move him out. And again, deceptively athletic. He gets off his feet a lot more than you might think.
And it's Kanter. 2-man game and a nice move. And Ennis loses the basketball out of bounds to USA.
Musli right there with the good move inside. Again, that little jump hook does a good job sealing it.
The world team stays in that zone, and Jones trying to knock them out of it. The best place to go in the zone is the middle, and Jones has got him set up there. Timeout call. They have 2 for the first half, 3 for the second half. And right now, the USA has a commanding 9-point lead with 8:12 to play in the first half. USA junior national team with a 31-22 lead over the world select team. All of a sudden, the turnover is beginning to pile up for the world team, and the USA is taking advantage of that.
That's the big difference. 5 turnovers, it's not good, doesn't sound terrible, but 12 points off the turnover. Every time they turn it over, the U.S. is just converting and killing it.
Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
Down here with Duye Dukin. Your team is behind right now. What do you guys need to do to get back into this ball game?
You know what? We're not boxing out too well. They're getting too many offensive rebounds right now. So if we box out, I think we'll put ourselves in a better position.
You're in a very lucky spot because your dad is a scout for the Chicago Bulls. I think you know the inside tricks in terms of what you need to do to get impressed here.
You know what? Yeah, definitely. You know, anytime you can be around the greats of the Bulls like Michael and Scotty, you know, you can learn a lot. And being able to see what they did in their off time kind of gave me an idea what I need to do. So.
You play a whole lot of ball here in the United States, but what does it mean to be representing your country in this competition?
It's incredible to have an honor, having to represent a huge number of people, and having to come out and play a game that you love. You know, there's nothing better you can ask for.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Steve, this guy is certainly going to make a big impression at Wisconsin next year in the Big Ten.
No question about it. And his father was a star in Yugoslavia, but they moved to the States when he was just 10 months old, and he played his high school basketball for Deerfield High School in Illinois. But every summer they'd go back for 2 months so he would able to get the international experience, and he had a real insight in the U.S. game versus the international game.
No question. Good player at Deerfield High School. His father, Irving, converted another good pass by Kanter Washington as we're talking inside. But Irving is the director of international scouting for the Chicago Bulls. And Douye, the way he shoots the ball, Bo Ryan is going to make good use of that. Bo runs that disciplined offense. He gets good shots, and he needs people to go along with what Jason Bohannon's been doing for him.
Nice move by Mirotic. And he knocks it down to make it a 33-24 game. On the drive, Reggie Bullock, and he misses the shot, but there was a foul called on the play. Here's Corey Joseph out of Findlay Prep in Nevada.
Dan Kendall, just a tremendous look. The guy's down along the baseline. You better get your hands up and be ready to play with him. Reggie Bullock was ready that time. He comes out of a fabled high school, Kinston High School in North Carolina. Jerry Stackhouse, you know I'm going to forget it. I've been telling you all week, and I never get them right. Charles Shackelford and Cedric Cornbread Maxwell, all out of Kinston High School. Reggie Bullock, two-time North Carolina State Championship, 2,000-plus points.
Well, he knocks down the free throws to make it a 34-24 game, 1 out of 2. 7 minutes remaining in the first half. Corey Joseph back at the point, a very physical point guard. Has played a lot of high school games against his U.S. stars. Musli cannot get it to go, and it's controlled by the U.S. And right now, their physicality is taking control of the world team.
They are. They limit them to one shot. That enables them to get the running game going. They get the running game going, they really can open it up. They have no offense whatsoever for Jaron Sullinger. Again, Sullinger can play away from the basket. He can play facing. He can put the ball on the floor, and he can shoot it better than you would think from the perimeter.
Sui Ran knocks down the three. Outlet pass. This is where they like to run, and Bullock is hit. I'm not sure if the foul was called prior to the shot, or they'll give him the 2 free throws. They'll give him the 2.
Corey Joseph creates the help situation. Sui Ran just slides down to the corner. He got away from it. Barton did a good job helping out, but Sui Ran did a good thing. As Will Barton went to help, he just changed the distance, got away from him. No way for him to get back in time. Sui Ran can score.
Again, he was a real star for the Shandong Flaming Bulls. And it was really interesting. I think Rob Beveridge does an outstanding job for the world team, because we have to take into consideration he does not know a lot of these languages. As a matter of fact, Sui Ran had an interpreter who's right next to him, and every time Rob would speak, his interpreter would shout out the instructions to Sui.
You talk about how hard it is to put an American team together where guys don't even know each other from all over the country. These guys are from different countries, don't even speak the same language. They fly across the world. They get thrown together, and they got to play in a week. This is a difficult situation for the world team.
Brandon Knight. Look at that play. They call him for traveling, but it was a sweet play.
He's just going to get an assist and a basket himself. Mike Thompson from Vancouver, British Columbia says, no, you can't do this. Watch Brandon Knight. Throws it up, catches it, and scores it right now. Maybe illegal, but very, very entertaining.
You know what? I was trying to count the steps. I thought he pulled it off. And we have a whistle and a foul against USA. Now, you count the steps. You're the coach.
Brandon's guy actually slows down and gets under control. It's up.
Yeah.
Let me catch it right there.
Okay.
Most places he's going to get called for what? Maybe not in Fort Lauderdale, but anywhere else.
Good point. Mirotic missing the three. Controlling it. Will Barton outlet pass, and a terrible pass into the defense of the World Select team. I like the play of Nikola Mirotic.
Knows how to play, and he's mobile for a big.
Musli outside, controlled by Patrick Young. Young is known for his defense. They get low at Tristan Thompson. And we haven't seen Tristan's name that much. This is a physical guy who can do some damage down low.
Tristan Thompson headed to Texas. We got the T's working right there. Tristan Thompson's a good player.
Brandon Knight. And Sullinger tries to drop it up and in. It will be interesting, Brandon Knight, when he makes his decision, because he's one of the point guards, and there are several great point guards, PJ, in the high school ranks who have not decided yet. Knight is one, but then Josh Selby out of Baltimore, Corey Joseph, who's playing for the world team, and Ray McCallum. I think as soon as Knight maybe makes his decision, the next will fall.
You always have the domino effect that's going to take place right there. Where's he going to go, and then where am I going to go? You'll see what happens. But Tristan Thompson is a good signing for Rick Barnes at Texas. He played at St. Benedict's Prep in New Jersey as a junior and then ended up at Findlay Prep this year. But again, don't forget, he and Corey, you're going to see them playing for Team Canada in the future. They've been on the under-19 Canadian national team. They're going to be on the big team in a very short time, Canada.
Thompson says he's trying to get him to come to Texas. Thompson again with his second slam, and that cuts the lead to 7.
It's a big pick and roll right there. Two big men usually have a guard to pick and roll, not that time.
Kyrie Irving back in, running the court, working with Harrison Barnes, who hit his first shot, pulls up here, and nails this one.
They're putting Scott in the court right now. When Harrison Barnes comes off the screen, do not go under it because he's automatic. He's got a beautiful stroke.
Joseph being doubled. Mirotic in and out with the 3. Rebound, Patrick Young. Barnes is so smooth. They do not want a foul. He's picked up by Young, and he drops it home.
That easily could have been an offensive foul. Harrison Barnes, what makes him so tough is we've seen his stroke. He can shoot it outside. He's got excellent ball skills, can put it on the floor so he can fill the wing, or he can take it coast to coast himself.
I think Billy Donovan's really going to like Patrick Young because he is a guy who has grown up a Gator fan, and he loves defense. And you know Billy Donovan with his defense. Defense this time by the entire USA team. Harrison Barnes, Iowa High School Player of the Year for a state title. But how about the things he does off the court?
Maybe more impressive off the court. You're talking a 3-6 student, plays the saxophone. Take the pick right here. Bible study, entrepreneurship club, volunteered at the food drive. Just an unbelievably impressive guy. Kyrie Irving, his teammate, said he's one of the most impressive guys he's ever met. Loves playing with him. And that's a Dookie talking about somebody from Carolina.
You think that conversation, that comment will come next year? I don't think so.
I think it's going to stay. These guys are friends for life.
Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
Down on the bench, I've got Kendall Marshall. This is a coming out party for UNC. How exciting is this that you've got a couple of teammates that you're going to spend the next couple of years with?
It's been great. You know, the whole week I was looking forward to playing with Reggie and Harrison and getting that camaraderie on the court, and I think it's been a great experience.
You guys have a lot of chemistry off this court. I've seen you guys joking, talking around. What's been happening? I know that this has been really exciting. I know you wanted to beat the Findlay Prep guys.
Oh, yeah, you know, the international team won last year, so we take pride in bringing the victory back to USA.
You're dubbed the Floor General. How'd you get that nickname, and why is it sticking?
I just say I'm an extension of the coach. Players like playing with me. I like getting my team involved and keeping everybody happy.
Thanks, Kendall. It's back to you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And Roy Williams will love to hear that because Marshall, an outstanding point guard, to go with Larry Drew.
And he's already got, we talked about his passing and how guys like to play against him. Kendall Marshall's already got 4 assists in this game. Players love to play. They love to play with a point guard. Looks pass first.
John Shire will be gone for Duke, and Kyrie Irving is the point guard coming in. Blue Devils. Down low it goes to Patrick Young, and he scores quite easily for a 13-point USA lead. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Once again, it's that strength.
I don't want to put it on Patrick Young that he's going to be another Dwight Howard. You can't help but think about Dwight. When you look at this young guy from Florida, how big and strong and athletic he is. He's going to be a special player in Southeast Asia.
It's hard to believe he's 18 years old. Dennis Kanter in the game grabs the rebound. Sullinger almost stole it from him.
See, the U.S. is doubling Corey Joseph a lot. Not as much they're looking for a steal. They just want to get the ball out of Corey's hands because good things usually happen when C-Joe has the ball.
It is a steal. Kyrie Irving has a 3-on-2. And he's tied up and fouled. Fans coming up at halftime, be sure to stay with us because we are going to take a look back at last year's game. Tremendous highlights of John Wall. We'll check in with the Final Score studio, and Rebecca Harlow will chat live with USA Basketball Executive Director Jim Tooley. At this time last year, John Wall had not made his decision to go to Kentucky, but John Calipari was here to recruit him.
There were a lot of people wondering what John Wall was going to do. Wondering what John Wall's going to do right now. But he was spectacular in this game last year with the passing. Yes, he scored 2, but it was the 11 assists. He just broke the game open. He did it for Kentucky all year. He's as quick as anybody I've ever seen coming out of high school. Foul line. As we see Jeff Petrie, Executive Vice President for the Sacramento Kings, George Raveling, the Director of International Basketball for Nike. Pretty much everybody that's involved in basketball, United States and internationally in attendance tonight. Another good, strong move going to the basket.
And PJ, it was interesting yesterday as we watched the practices with all the NBA scouts. You turned to me and said, Steve, I don't even think these kids know the people that are watching them and their importance in the game.
No, they didn't. There's Terry Porter, great player. His number hanging from the rafters here in the Rose Garden. Kevin Pritchard, the general manager of the Portland Trailblazers. But it's true. They were actually scrimmaging against some players from the University of Portland. Good players, good college players. And those guys knew who the scouts were. These young guys, Steve Kerr, Phoenix Suns general manager and president of basketball ops. But the young high school players knew they were scouts, but they really didn't know the level of people that were there evaluating them. Kevin O'Connor from the Utah Jazz. I mean, there's not a team that's not represented, whether it's the vice president, the GM, the assistant GM. A lot of the international scouts, directors of international scouting. We talked about D.A. Dukin's father, who does that. A lot of those guys were also in it. There weren't enough chairs to go around, to be honest with you, the places practices.
Driving in, Kyrie Irving is scoring. Kadi is back in the game, running the point for the world team. His father and mother played for the Australian national team. His dad, we met yesterday, played in the 76 Olympic team. And his son really shows his savvy. Very smart player. Here's Kanter trying to get inside, but Irving fouls him on the 4-on-1.
We talked about yesterday. You got to look around. See Jeff again. Jeff looks like he hasn't moved from yesterday yet. Phoenix Suns in attendance, but again, these players going up and down. Every seat filled all around Eddie Tapscott. Washington, there's Rob Beveridge, the international coach. Rob knows most of the scouts. You saw them over talking to him because they're asking him about these players. This is a great advantage for the GMs from all the NBA teams to see all this young talent in one building.
Rob, one of the great coaches in the international game just last month, led Perth to Australia's national championship.
Rob's been assistant at the Olympics. He's been a head coach at the World University Games, the Junior National Championships. As you mentioned, it's Perth Wildcats just won the NBL.
I'm sure he'd like to have Cadet on his team in the future. This is Thompson with a nice drive. That's a power move.
I was just about to say that too, but I didn't want to upset Rick Barnes. Rob told me he was thinking of taking Tristan with him. He thought he'd be a good player for the Perth Wildcats too. I think he might go to Austin, Texas first, and possibly somewhere else after that.
Harrison Barnes. How smooth he is. Oh, man. Makes the game look easy.
Morgan Wooten, Player of the Year, and a two-time Mr. Iowa basketball. It should be easy for him. Harrison Barnes does make it look just very smooth.
How about that move?
That wasn't smooth, but that was a heck of a move by Enes Kanter. And again, Enes Kanter, you're talking about the two guys from Finley Prep. Enes Kanter has that same advantage. He played at Stone Ridge Prep in California. Actually started at Mountain Academy in West Virginia. This is a good move. Spin, finish, splits the guy. Fouled by Myers Leonard, still finishes inside. You can understand why John Calipari's happy about going to be playing for the Kentucky Wildcats.
And he had given a verbal to the University of Washington and then changed his mind late. And I'm not sure if it was when they found out which players were going to go pro early. Regardless, he's going to Kentucky.
If you'd ask me, you know I'm living in Seattle. I got to go with Lorenzo. I don't want to go against Cal, but I got to go for my hometown guy.
Lorenzo's one of the great coaches in the game and a delight to play for. He's in the running to get Terrence Jones, along with a couple of other Pac-10 schools like Oregon and UCLA, but the Ducks have still not named their coach. LeBron trying to go inside to Kanter. And there's a good double. Kanter's able to pick up this ball and score.
The ball from this damn ball, that's a good finish inside right there.
At the half, the USA has the lead by some 9 points at 50-41. There's strength inside by guys like Patrick Young and Jared Sullinger, and the crafty play from Kendall Marshall. And Harrison Barnes led the way as USA has a 50-41 lead. Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
Down here with Coach Cimino of Team USA. Coming into this week, you were looking for transition on offense and pesky defense. Are you liking what you've seen in this first half?
So far, so good. We seem to be getting out on the break. We're happy with that. Making a couple of good steals. When we steal the ball, we've got to pass it instead of bouncing it. We do a little better job getting the ball into our bigs. I think we're stronger inside than they are.
You've got 50 points coming from all over. It's got to be a great advantage that you're playing with a whole bunch of individual stars who are playing with the team mentality.
Well, when we started the week, we interviewed them all. Nobody seemed to care who was going to start. They all wanted to play for the name on the front, and they seem to be buying into that right now.
Thanks, Coach. We certainly have a focused and a determined Team USA. They want redemption. They want revenge, Fizz.
Rebecca, thank you very much. The USA team record for most points in a game, 109. The USA has 50 in the first half. The World Select team with 41. We'll come back with more halftime after this. Last year, the world team beat the USA. And I think the USA is coming in here with a major chip on their shoulder.
No question about it, Steve. That's all they've talked about this week. The coaches and the players very much aware. After 9 straight wins for the U.S. in the Nike Hoop Summit last year, the world team
a guy with a great deal of international experience from the Pan Am Games to the Olympic Games. He was a Final Four coach in college. But last year, the world team beat the USA. And I think the USA is coming in here with a major chip on their shoulder.
No question about it, Steve. That's all they've talked about this week. The coaches and the players very much aware. After 9 straight wins for the U.S. in the Nike Hoop Summit last year, the world team, great fourth quarter comeback, beat the United States. These players are embarrassed by that.
But last year, the world team beat the USA. And I think the USA is coming in here with a major chip on their shoulder.
No question about it, Steve. That's all they've talked about this week. The coaches and the players very much aware. After 9 straight wins for the U.S. in the Nike Hoop Summit last year, the world team, great fourth quarter comeback, beat the United States. These players are embarrassed by that. They don't want it to happen again. They've worked very hard at practice. They're intent on a win for the United States this evening.
Well, you talk about the best in America. How about Jared Sullinger, Naismith Award winner as the top high school player in the country?
Not just the Naismith Award winner, also the Parade Magazine Player of the Year at 2.
Welcome back to the 2010 Nike Hoop Summit from the Rose Garden in Portland, Oregon, where Team USA leads by 9 points. Now, one of the most exciting things about the Hoop Summit is it brings in scouts from all over the world. There are 30 NBA scouts in the house, and from what I'm hearing, the next Kobe Bryant is here tonight. Of course, 2009 was just as star-studded. Let's take a look back. Last year's Nike Hoop Summit game brought together some of the brightest stars making headlines now in college. Future Kansas Jayhawk Xavier Henry led Team USA with 22 points, including 6 of 11 behind the arc. Avery Bradley added 21 points before heading to the Texas Longhorns. John Wall, who dazzled the nation at Kentucky, used his speed and agility to score 13 spectacular points. He tied the Hoop Summit record with 5 steals and dished out 11 record assists. But it was World Select team player Milan Mokvan who ultimately led his team to victory. The Serbian scored 23 points, mostly from behind the arc, as the world team defeated USA 97-89, breaking USA's 7-game win streak. Certainly going to make it difficult for that world team to win twice in a row. Now, before we get back to the action, we've got an interview with Jim Tooley, the CEO and Executive Director of USA Basketball. Stay with us. Back to the 2010 Nike Hoop Summit, where it's been Team USA all the way. They are currently up by 9. I have the CEO of USA Basketball. Now, you're telling me that USA Basketball is going even younger. How are you changing the structure?
We are. We started last year with a U16 national team that's going to compete in this year's U17 World Championship in Hamburg, Germany. So we're starting a few years earlier than we have, and it's made a big impact on our program.
When you pick your junior national team every year, you're always looking for different qualities. What was it that you wanted from this team this year?
We wanted the guys to understand that this isn't your typical all-star game, that you're representing your country and that you're part of the USA Basketball pipeline and our full national team program.
The Team USA players have been telling me that they're really proud to be freshmen. Talk about the family team culture that you're trying to cultivate here.
Correct. Most people know USA Basketball for our men's world championship, women's world championship, and both Olympics teams with LeBron and Kobe playing. Those guys are the varsity team. These younger kids here starting at the high school age, we consider them our freshman team. So they're part of our pipeline, and it's an exciting program for us.
Jim, thank you so much for your time, as always. As you can tell, we're about to be right back to the action. But first, it's a check-in with PJ and Steve, who are breaking down the action after the break.
Raptors, Tony Parker of the San Antonio Spurs, Aubrey Caspi of the Sacramento Kings, Nicholas Batum and Patty Mills with your Portland Trailblazers. Other former Hoop Summit alum currently competing at the collegiate level include 2010 first-team All-Americans freshman John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins from Kentucky, Duke Jr. 2010 NCAA Final Four Most Outstanding.
The 2010 Nike Hoop Summit from Portland, Oregon is brought to you by Nike Basketball and by USA Basketball. Beautiful look at the skyline of the city of Portland, Oregon, with the Willamette River. Steve Physiak along with PJ Carlesimo. And here in the Nike Hoop Summit, it seems like the USA Junior National Team has more strength, more power, rebounding ability than the World Select Team.
I think that's the difference. The bigs so far are showing the way, and Jared Sullinger's been really the one that set the table early for the United States. First running, then an assist, then dominating inside, so he really did a good job. Jared Sullinger's got 9 points, got 3 offensive rebounds. This is one of them right here. He just grabs it, steps right around Tristan Thompson, kind of elbows him politely out of the way right there. Harrison Barnes has also provided some offense. 9 points, 3 rebounds. Again, not just the ability to shoot it. Harrison Barnes can put it on the floor. For the international team, Tristan Thompson can also put it on the floor. That's a strong move for the Longhorn right there going to the basket. And then Enes Kanter in a really nice pick and roll. Good feed from Mile LeBron. Kanter finishes inside. Kanter's got 12. Tristan Thompson has 10. See the difference right there. The three-point shooting. The U.S. 4 for 13. And down at the bottom, turnovers. 7 turnovers for the world team. 16 points off turnovers for the United States. That's the difference in the game. When the world team has turned the ball over, the U.S. is converted every time. Barnes, Sullinger, Bullock showing the way for the U.S. Kanter and Thompson we talked about. Nikola Mirotic also very impressive for the world team.
Kanter out of Turkey leads in scoring and rebounding, 12 points and 5 rebounds. Thompson from Canada with 10. And this is Corey Joseph from Canada on the floor with Dejan Musli out of Serbia. Also on the floor, Duje Dukan from Croatia. Tristan Thompson from Canada. And Mirotic from Spain, Montenegro. He's playing for Spain and in Spain now, but he was born in Montenegro. This is Joseph with a pretty move. He is going to make some coach happy in the States.
Tough possession right there. Well defended by the United States, but Corey Joseph found a way to create a shot. The world team back in their 2-3 zone.
USA team has won 9 of the previous 12, but the World Select team got them last year by a final of 97-89 with a great comeback in the fourth quarter. This is the USA star, Harrison Barnes, missing. It's controlled by Corey Joseph out of Canada, from Ontario. He and Tristan Thompson from Canada, they're playing in the game at the same time. They've been playing a lot of Canadian All-Star teams since the age of 12.
Watch Corey Joseph in his last possession, Steve. He does a real good job. Clock's on his back now. You see it going under 6. Corey Joseph just creates, splits right there, and now the little teardrop a la Tony Parker to finish inside for Corey Joseph from Canada.
Oh, nice move on that baseline by Mirotic. Jonia, he is from Serbia, but recently granted Spanish citizenship. The Spanish national team obviously wants him to play, and he must be a citizen if that's going to take place. Patrick Young has it blocked. Nice rebound by Sullinger.
Musli with good defense inside.
And it's controlled by Joseph of Canada. Corey Joseph still has not made a decision on where he's going to school. Minnesota, Connecticut, UNLV, Texas, or Villanova. The teams he is cut into.
Late whistle, but a good foul by Mike. Good call by Mike Thompson, the official from Canada. Coincidentally in favor of Corey Joseph, but good call. Corey was held, that's why he turned it over.
For those of you wondering, Mike Thompson, the official from Canada, is no relation to Tristan Thompson, Canada. Here's Corey Joseph with the jumper, misses the 3. Harrison Barnes, check out these strides, but he loses the ball, and Joseph gets his back. Again, tried to fight for the rebound, and it goes out of bounds. Duje Dukan from Croatia. played for the States at Deerfield High School, where he led his team in scoring at 23 points per game. They won the region, then missed out.
He's headed to Madison, Wisconsin.
He told me, he said the reason he wanted to go to Wisconsin, he loved the coach, Bo Ryan, and also the academics at Wisconsin. It was a great three outside. Mirotic.
The man from Montenegro, Nikola Mirotic. He belongs to Real Madrid, the Spanish team. He actually is on loan to another team in the second division, but ultimately he'll be back playing for Real Madrid, the Spanish team.
Sullinger so strong to the hoop, but had it partially blocked, and it went over the rim. Dukin can hit that three, and it's in and out. It'll be USA basketball.
Should get a point and a half, Steve. That was halfway down and came out.
How about the way the team from the World Select team has bounced back and cut it to 2 points?
A good start for them. No, they came out confident. The zone again, not bothered, but slowing down the United States team.
Irving back in the game at the point, and also in the game is Brandon Knight. Seems like the World Select team playing better defense here in the second half.
Well, the more the game stays in the half court, the better it's going to be for the world team. But so far, this initial 4 or 5 minutes, they've kept it in the half court. They keep it in the half court, they're going to be fine. The bigs are not as mobile as the U.S. bigs, and they certainly want to go up and down the floor. I like the guard play by the world team so far, but again, as good as they are, particularly Corey Joseph, who put that whole group of U.S. guards out there, big advantage for the United States. So the United States wants to play 94 feet. The world team wants to play 45.
And you just saw Rob Beveridge, who's responsible for the development of over 40 players into the professional ranks, 25 into U.S. colleges. I mean, he's coached the likes of Andrew Bogut, and Patty Mills, and Ryan Newberg.
He's had a lot of good players come out. And again, he's coached them at all levels. Coached them on the junior team, on the under 18, and also as assistant coach on the Olympic team in Australia. So Rob Beveridge has been involved every level of basketball in Australia.
Thompson from Canada staying in the game, and on the drive it's knocked free by Jared Sullinger. Picking it up, basketball, trying to finish. It's Thompson from Canada. Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
Down here with Patrick Young, who's heading to Florida. Now, I know you're taking a lot of pride in heading to Florida, turning that team around, 2 national championships in the recent past, but not playing the way they can really play.
You're right. We got to step it up. I think next year I can come in there and make a pretty good impact, because I play pretty hard with energy, and that's exactly what Coach Donovan's looking for.
You come into this game with a whole lot of work ethic. It was about a year ago where you were unranked. Now you're one of the top high school players in the nation. What have you done to change your game?
I mean, just knowing all these guys in front of me, I thought I could compete with all of them, and then I had to show everyone that I could, and I just had to keep going to the gym and persevere, and not worry about what they said about me in the reports. But I knew how good I was, and my coaches knew how good I was, and I just had to prove that I could be that good.
Now, some scouts are saying that you look like a young Dwight Howard. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that, definitely. Everyone knows me for that.
Of course, no one's going to disagree with that one, Fizz.
No question, as Harrison Barnes picks up the basketball and throws it down to Patrick Young, who will make a splash at Florida next year. His grandparents really happy. They're diehard Gator fans.
He looks pretty good in red, white, and blue, but he's going to look real nice in orange and blue for Billy D.
And his Kanter from Turkey is tied up by Jared Sullinger. Give the basketball to the USA.
Again, difference in international right here. No jump balls, you alternating arrow like you have in the NCAA competition.
Marshall back in. Let's take a look at Harrison Barnes' jam.
Well, Enes Kanter couldn't come up with it. Nobody put a body on Harrison Barnes. That's a mistake. Again, he's such a versatile player. He can shoot it deep. He can put it on the floor. He can go in and rebound, and he's a very good defender.
The World Select team bringing in Jason Kadee from Australia and Sui Ran from China. Missing is Marshall, and Kadee grabs the long miss. Jason Kadee, a point guard in Australia, throws it down to Thompson, who loses it, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be USA basketball.
Tristan's got to come up with that. That's a good pass there by Jason Kadee. I think Tristan was holding off the defender with one arm, reached with the other one.
Harrison Barnes missing. Musli is there out of Serbia. Mirotic on the drive, left hand will not go, picked up by his teammate. And Ennis Kanter out of Turkey drops it home.
Well, I second-guessed the refs for not calling an offensive in the first half. Did the same thing the other way this half. At least they're being consistent. Nikola Mirotic, that's the European bigs. You run out at the international bigs. They're getting better now putting the ball on the floor.
The select team stays in the zone. They have come back from a 13-point deficit to cut it to 1. Sullinger pulls his way up, will not go. Barnes loses it to Kadee. Mirotic. Kanter getting it back. He is something special. He was the MVP of the Turkish under-18 championship team, averaging over 18 points and 14 rebounds per game. But Harrison Barnes from Ames, Iowa, comes down to throw it down and reclaim the lead for the junior national team.
We're going to see that in the future. Kendall Marshall pushes the ball. Harrison Barnes with the finish for the North Carolina Tar Heels in the next 4 years.
Kadee from Australia missing the 3. Kanter has been very big in this game.
The man from Turkey is going to make an impact at the University of Kentucky. He's played much better. He didn't show me this much in practice during the week. That's a strong two-handed rebound right there. He just bulls his way to the other side of the basket. Ennis Kanter from Istanbul.
And we have 8-year-old Christian. What they're going to do right now, they have size 16 shoes on, and they're going to run. They're going to put a pair of shorts. Then they're going to run. They're going to put on the jersey. After they put on the jersey, they're going to grab a ball, bring it all the way back, and they have to make a layup. The winner, first person to make the layup, wins a pair of shoes from Nike. Savon, Christian, are you ready? All right, take your marks. Go! Here we go. It's a tight race. Put the shorts on over the gigantic shoes. Come on, Christian, you can do it. Come on, it's a race, buddy. He's right, he's up it. He's up it. Savon is a commanding lead. Come on, Christian. You can do it. Catch up. Hey!
USA with a 55-54 lead over the World Select team. In the 2006 Nike Hoop Summit game, future Texas Longhorn star Kevin Durant dazzled everyone with his versatility and his 20 points. The game also showcased 3 future North Carolina Tar Heels, Brandon Wright, Ty Lawson, and Wayne Ellington. Lawson scored 17 and dished out 6 assists. Wright dominated the paint, though, while Ellington scored 21 of his game high and a USA record-tying 31 points in the first half and was named the game's most outstanding player. Team USA defeated the International All-Stars 109-91. Harrison Barnes is going to North Carolina, where he'll be joined by Reggie Bullock and Kendall Marshall. Class coming in from Roy Williams. Barnes, any thought? Best player in America.
Morgan Wood winner again. They split the awards. You got Brandon Knight's a Gatorade Player of the Year. Sullinger won 2 awards. As the bull from Turkey scores inside again. Harrison Barnes, the Morgan Wooten Player of the Year. And again, all deserving. You make a good case for any of the 3. All of them.
World team back in front by 1. Will Barton in the game is going to Memphis next year. Play for an old friend, Josh Pastner. Harrison Barnes in the drive. He will miss. Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
Down here with Corey Joseph of Findlay Prep. Now, you're one of the few guys here tonight who's still undecided on school. Of course, everyone wants to know where you headed next year.
Not sure yet. I don't have a timetable set. Whenever I feel 100%, that's when I make my decision.
Now, give me a couple of your top schools.
Oh, I have a top 5. It's UNLV, Minnesota, UConn, Texas, and Villanova.
One of the challenges of the world team is getting over the language barrier, but I understand you're the guy who's been bringing everyone together all week long. How have you been getting past the language?
A lot of hand signals, just trying to make them understand as much as I can, and just going through a lot of hand signals.
Of course, you've played against all of these Team USA guys already. What would a victory tonight mean to you?
It mean a lot. Like you said, I played with them a lot, and it's bragging rights. It mean a lot.
Thanks a lot, Corey. We'll be anxiously waiting to see where he heads to school next year.
Absolutely, because I was surprised that Minnesota was not mentioned. His brother DeBoe plays for Minnesota. Tubby Smith averaged almost 10 points per game this past year.
Rory thinks for himself. I like Cijo. He's an impressive young guy. He knows what he wants to do. He's not going to get rushed by the college coaches. He's going to make the decision he wants to make. Sui ran with a nice 3 for the world team as they continue to play well. And his Kanter, the same way Jared Sullinger dominated in the first half. The young man from Istanbul, Turkey, is dominating the second half so far.
He is just an impressive load, 6'10", about 245 pounds, and Ennis is only 17 years old.
When I talked to Rob Beveridge at the first practice, I watched him and I knew he was going to Kentucky. And after the practice was over, I said to Rod, I said, Kanter is going to Kentucky. Because he didn't really impress me that much in the practice. And he said he's very, very good. He said he's physical, he's effective, he can't move him, and he knows how to play, as usual. Rob Beveridge and his players.
Reggie Bullock back in the game with Kendall Marshall, Patrick Young, and when Bullock threw the pass, it was just at the same time as both inside players turned their heads and made their moves into the paint.
Well, you're gonna get that anytime you got guys playing together for the first time. That takes a long time to develop that kind of knowledge.
Kanter has been the man in this comeback, and all of a sudden the World Select team has a 6-point lead, their biggest advantage of the night.
Big Blue Nation is very pleased with this telecast so far, and this Kanter is going to be welcomed in Lexington.
Reggie Bullock misses the 3. Rebounding is Sui Ran, and he wants to run. Gives it up to Kanter. Man, what a play.
I thought Sui made the wrong pass because the man from China laid it back to Enes Kanter from Turkey. I really thought he should have thrown it to the D. But look at how agile. Watch this play by Enes Kanter. This is a big man. Steps through sideways and makes the play. To me, the easier play would have been to Kadee. Sui Ran just looks him right off. Good finish. That's an impressive fast break right there for the world team.
All part of the Nike Hoop Summit, and all of a sudden, the World Select team has a 65-57 lead.
60 seconds. Thank you.
Last year we had 4 Carolina players on a national championship team. This year we've got 4 Duke players, all Nike Hoop Summit alumni. John Shire back in 06, Kyle Singler and Nolan Smith in 07, and of course Mason Plumlee last year. 2 years in a row, the national champion with 4 players from the Nike Hoop Summit, and they happen to be, as is often the case, from a few miles apart down in the Chapel Hill, Durham area.
No question. And there's a young man, Nikola Mirotic, who's out of Montenegro, playing for Spain. Came through a storied Spanish league, Real Madrid program, and he has had a solid game.
Nikola Mirotic puts the ball on the floor. You got to respect his outside shot. If you don't, he's going to burn you. When you do come running at him, he's got the ability to put the ball on the floor. Nikola Mirotic is an impressive young player. Again, playing in Spain, but born in Montenegro.
Now he's at the sideline with an 8-point surprising lead as the USA must tighten things up defensively. If they're to come back, they were ahead by 13 in the first half, and now down as Kanter finishes the 3-point play.
Kanter's dominating the game, and we said we were talking off camera at halftime, the world team looked very comfortable. The guards were handling the ball, they were fine. When they didn't turn the ball over, the world team was in good shape. They've minimized their turnovers so far in the third quarter.
Myers Leonard back in the game. Skip pass that's knocked out of bounds by Sui Ran, who thought it went off of Marshall.
Yeah, Sui Ran was trying to sell the call. We had the gentleman from China trying to converse with Jose Carrion from Fajardo, Puerto Rico. Obviously didn't have a lot of success.
So Bob Cimino is bringing back in the Naismith Award High School Player of the Year and big Jared Sullinger, 6'9", 262. They need some inside work, but they're not getting. They have shot like 25% in the second half. Jason Kadee back at the point from Australia. Here's Maya Lebrun from France.
Again, a lot of these players, they're under 19, but many of them are playing in the top league in their country, or at least in the second division, so they're used to playing a very high level of basketball.
Marshall looking for an opening. Floats it up. It rims out no good, and they could have gone to the rim to tip it in. They get it to Sullinger, who slams it home.
It's a good point, Steve. Either team, the defense could have ripped it off the rim, or the offense could have stuffed it through. The ball lays on the rim internationally. It's free game.
Romulo from New Zealand has it swatted free into the hands of Marshall. Could this be the time that the junior national team comes back?
Good job getting back by the world team on defense.
Bullock missing badly the three, and that is his specialty. So we ran. Oh, that's a charge. Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
From the charge down here to the #1 player by Scout Harrison. You've told me that this game, however, is not about individual accolades. It's all about the team.
Yes, that's correct. As you can see right now, we're down by about 10, so we need to kind of pull together and get this win.
University of North Carolina didn't make the tournament this year. I know that if you have anything to say about it, they're definitely going to be back next year.
We definitely have a lot of work to do, and hopefully we'll try to make a good NCAA run next year.
Offensively, what do you guys need to do? The world team is getting back on defense.
It doesn't start for offense, but that starts with defense and just stopping Enos Kanter down low.
And before I let you go, we've got to ask about your little brother. Who is it and how did he get the nickname?
My little brother is Irving, and just from being around him so long, that's just how he got the name.
Thank you, Harrison. Fizz, back to you, big brother.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Appreciate that. And Harrison Barnes, I mean, this is a young man, 17 years old. He talks like he's 27.
He is. The same way he plays, he's smooth, he's impressive, there's no frills to his game. That's the kind of young man he is. He's a gentleman, tremendously impressive young man, well-raised, great representative of names in high school in Iowa.
And there is Kyrie Irving, Harrison Barnes' little brother, and they will be competing against each other. And Irving, he had an interesting thing happen. He had 30 points to help St. Patrick beat Plainville this year, 82-45. They may have been the best team in New Jersey, but the team was banned from the New Jersey playoffs for holding illegal practices early. So he was able to attend the Duke North Carolina rivalry game, which was won by his Duke Blue Devils.
I'm sure Kyrie would have rather play. His goal was to win another state championship. They won the state championship as juniors. Plays for a former player of mine, Kevin Boyle, at St. Patrick's Pleasant. He was really disappointed. But how about Ennis Kanter so far in the second half? He's been the difference for the world team. Inside, scoring, stick backs. You can't move him. Once he anchors in there, there's nothing you can do. But again, good footwork. Similar player, actually, to Sullinger. Uses his body very, very well. He's strong, but he's also agile. This is on the fast break. Running the floor, finish inside, catches the pass from Sullinger from China, and a very nice finish in transition.
Look at that.
25 so far. He's after Dirk Nowitzki's Nike Hoop Summit record.
Dirk Nowitzki scored 33 back in 1998. And Ennis Kanter out of Turkey is going to Kentucky. He's 10 of 14 from the floor, 5 of 6 free throw line. He's a double-double, 25 and 10 rebounds.
Dan Musli just moved Jared Sullinger out of the way, the strong man from Serbia, with an impressive finish inside. Dirk Nowitzki on the same floor last night, I think went for 30, as his Mavericks beat the Portland Trailblazers here.
That's right. And Kendall Marshall with a bad pass. The Knight was coming towards the top of the key. Instead, the pass went to the wing. So Jason Kadee, who's from Australia, turns 19 in just a few days on April 15th. Told you his dad, Robbie, a great star in the 76 Olympic team for Australia.
Robbie's here tonight, had a good chance to renew all the acquaintances.
There's a three by Kadee. That'll make his dad proud, and mom too.
When they score down there, they think good day, Kadee.
In their comeback, but they trail the World Select team by 12 going to the final quarter.
The young man from Portland gives the crowd something to cheer about, but there hasn't been much so far. Harrison Barnes with the great play, but it's been all world team led by Ennis Kanter, Kentucky bound.
Courtesy of Nike. And fans, here comes Air Blaze for you.
take the lead. 2 years ago, the Rose Garden hosted the Nike Hoop Summit for the first time, and Team USA exploded for 98 points. Future USC Trojan DeMar DeRozan led all scorers with 17 points. World Select Team center Alexis Ajinka from France scored 13, and a few months later was selected with the 20th overall pick in the NBA draft by Charlotte's Bobcats. But future Memphis Tiger and Sacramento Kings guard Tyreke Evans and his USA teammates prevailed by 20.
It was a fun game. You know, I was excited to play for the U.S. and it was a great feeling to be there.
Check out this stat. 99 former USA and members have been drafted by NBA teams. 11 players in the 2009. Number 4 pick Tyreke Evans. Number 6 Johnny Flynn. DeMar DeRozan was taken 9th. Tyler Hansbrough 13.
How about the 2008, the top 3 picks? Derrick Rose right down the line. 1, 2, 3. Again, 3 number 1 picks, 5 number 2 picks have appeared in this game.
So you'll be seeing these guys later in the college ranks in the NBA.
Perhaps not for all 4 years in college, unfortunately.
Here's Terrence Jones. Man, he did it himself. Just like he did it for Portland Jefferson. 3 straight state championships.
Terrence Jones is strong, can put it on the floor. He improves his shooting. There's no limit to how far he'll go.
Rand from China. LeBron from France. New Zealand's Low. Australians D in the game, with Musli from Serbia.
Beautiful job by the big man. Runs the floor, fakes him right before he goes to the basket. At 6'8", 220 pounds. Terrence Jones. 2-time Oregon Player of the Year.
Indeed, trying to get it low, and he does to Musli, and Musli powering it up, will not go. Sullinger grabs the miss. Try and move it inside double figures. Brandon Knight at the controls. Terrence Jones for 3, and he misses.
Musli strong on both ends. The man from Serbia plays for FMP in Belgrade. And these guys play for their under-18 national teams, but some of them play in these top divisions. They're playing with men. They're playing with 25 and 30-year-old guys. So they're not worried at all about playing young teams.
Musli trying to power it up. That's a 24-second shot clock violation. 18 turnover. The USA basketball still trailing by 10 with 8:48 to play. Can they make a comeback against Rob Beveridge's World Select team?
They can if they continue to get stops like that. Good defense. Now they've got to get a score on the other end and get back and play some solid D.
Knight struggles with the basketball. Stolen by Sui Ran from China. The team again, 10 players from 9 countries across 4 continents. It's filled with players owning a great deal of international basketball experience. 5 different geographic zones from Africa, the Americas, Asia, Europe, and Oceania. And once again, the World Select team goes in front.
Well, I'm impressed by Sui Ran. He's done a very nice job running pick and rolls. He's got a good feel. It's funny, every once in a while he wants to run, and Rob Beveridge stands up in front of the world bench and puts his palms to the ground and says, slow it down. There's no slowing down Harrison Barnes. I mean, whether it's out on the perimeter, in the fast break, in the half court, this is one impressive player.
Bob Cimino wants to win this game. He won 10 New York State public titles in high school. LeBron from France scrambling for the basketball. It will be a hill ball situation. USA will have it.
Watch the pick and roll right here. Sui Ran, good job. He continues to penetrate. Doesn't give it up till he draws the help. He made the defense commit first, then he made the play. Real good execution.
Particularly with players you haven't played with that much. Irving on the floor with Barnes, Jones, Sullinger, and Knight. Knight trying to save it. Instead, it goes almost out of bounds, and Irving to save it. Kyrie giving it up. Terrence Jones is there to finish it.
Look what I found, a little pinball assist.
It's a 7-point game. Australia's Jason Kadee at the point. Irving defending him, and that's a nice drive by Jason Kadee.
We said all night how these guards are playing well. Kadee from Australia, Sui Ran from China.
Irving missing. Sullinger picks him up. And that's a timeout with 6:56 left in the ball game. The World Select team has a 7-point lead on USA. And Jason Kadee leading the way. The kid from Australia, only 165 pounds, but look at his strength.
Beautiful finish over Sullinger inside.
'78-71, the World Select team leading USA. Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
If you know Big Ten basketball, if you know Pac-10 basketball, if you know Nike hoops, you know Director of International Basketball from Nike, George Raveling. Now, when you transitioned over to Nike, I know it was very important for you to continue the globalization of basketball.
Well, I think the game is clearly becoming a global game. I think you can see it in the play of the international team. Even the kid from China, he's fundamentally sound. He's playing the game instinctively. I think it's good for the game of basketball.
Now, you told me earlier this week that your ultimate goal is to have basketball recognized like soccer on the world level. What steps do you need to get there?
I think that we've got to grow the game on a global basis. We all have to become global basketball citizens and appreciate the game around the world. And we got to do provide competitive opportunities around the globe for players to grow.
Thanks so much for your time, George. Fizz, you can obviously tell that this is a broadcaster who you've worked with.
Yes, indeed, and I loved him as a coach as well at USC, because PJ, George Raveling, when he would find a positive article in the newspaper, he would cut it out and put it on every single player's chair in the locker room. So that was the first thing they picked up before they went to practice.
George Raveling, an excellent coach, an innovator, someone who's always thought outside the box. He's been a great addition at Nike. He's contributed so much to the game of basketball. Kyrie Irving here, little steal on the inbounds pass to start coming out of the timeout. U.S. with the 10-4 run here beginning the fourth quarter.
Kyrie Irving, 7 points, 3 assists. This young man is going to the national champions, Duke and Mike Krzyzewski. And Irving all of a sudden cuts the lead to 5 at 78-73. And here's a little full court pressure. This is where they can really challenge it, but they break it very well. Inside, Turkey's Enes Kanter. He's got 27.
What a good pass up the sideline and then over the top, big to big. You know, it's interesting. You see Kyrie Irving matched up against Jason Kadee. Kyrie Irving was actually born in Melbourne, Australia, and his father was playing in Australia. Now he's matched up against Jason Kadee from Australia.
Opportunity for three-point play, and it seems like the point guards are looking more and more to Sullinger.
No question about it. I think that, you know, Bob Cimino, I'm sure, from Mount Vernon High School said, hey, this is where we're strong. Good penetration by Brandon Knight. Finds the big man from Ohio inside. You know, to finish that thought on Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving actually has the ability, if he chooses, to play for the Australian national team, because he was born in Australia. His father, Dredwick, who played at Boston University, was playing in Melbourne when he was born, and Brett Brown, now the assistant coach of the Spurs and the head coach of the Australian national team, would love to convince Kyrie to play for the Australian national team.
Knight a little too physical with Canada's Corey Joseph. So he picks up the personal foul. 4-point lead, and there's Bob Cimino, great coach at Mount Vernon High School in New York. Since 1994, 324 wins through last year.
Assisted by Rich Gray, long-time director of the St. Louis Eagles AAU program, two-time national champion. Great man, done so much good for the young guys in Missouri.
gets it inside. This is Sullinger powering it up and in. It's a 2-point game.
Again, the footwork. Jaron Sullinger finds a way to score inside against bigs or smalls. Corey Joseph in now for the world team trying to settle him down. The U.S. obviously turning up the defensive pressure.
They've got the two teammates from Canada in the game with Thompson and Joseph. Instead, they go inside. The ball is stripped from Turkey's Ennis Kanter. Harrison Barnes hits outside, and that's a 3 to give USA the lead.
Crowd coming alive. Other than when Terrence Jones has had the ball, this crowd has not had a lot to cheer about tonight.
Much more active defensively here in the fourth quarter. Barnes with the steal. A 3-on-2 break. Knight gives it up to Harrison. He cannot finish, but will wind up at the free throw line for 2 free throws.
Again, you see the difference. When the U.S. is able to get their running game in gear, there's no defense for it. When the world team's able to slow them down, watch out. Careless pass right there, the turnover. Again, this is a forward leading the break. He puts it ahead to Brandon Knight. Brandon Knight lays it back for him. Harrison unable to finish. I'm telling you, I don't want to put that on a young freshman as the U.S. team jumps off the bench, but he is going to help the Tar Heels next year. There's not going to be an adjustment for Harrison Barnes.
PJ, you're a terrific college coach. Got Seton Hall to the finals. Also a fine coach in the NBA. You know how defense leads to offense. We've seen that here in the fourth quarter.
It's totally turned the game around, the defense of the U.S. team. That's what Bob Cimino's talking about, but we're talking about Harrison Barnes, multifaceted wing player, long, smooth, and talented. He can fill the lanes on the break. You just saw that. He can lead the break himself because he can put it on the floor. He's a very willing defender. He's a good rebounder, can shoot the three-point shot. This is a complete package. This is somebody without holes in his game. He's only going to get better. I don't know who coached him at Ames, Iowa High School, but this young man is very, very well prepared to go into the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Talked to a couple of scouts yesterday who felt that Harrison Barnes was the most complete player in the nation. And this is a guy who is multi-faceted. I mean, he plays the saxophone, he tutors algebra, he leads a Bible study, and his greatest NBA memory, why not? The very best.
Number 23.
And he's going where number 23 went to college.
Maybe a little cause and effect right there.
Harrison Barnes with one more for a 3-point lead. This is a terrific comeback as they trailed by as many as 13 in the fourth quarter. Might be seeing a reversal of fortune from last year, where it was the World Select team that came back in the fourth quarter to beat USA 97-89.
Two Canadians bring the ball up, Tristan Thompson and Corey Joseph.
While the run for France also in the game, a good 3-shooter. Thought he might take it there. Joseph is an outstanding 3-shooter. And Corey gets it to Kanter from Turkey, who drops it in. And now the free throw is a chance to tie the game.
How about the give and go? That's Maurizio Giardini right there, the assistant general manager for the Toronto Raptors, but also the managing director of the Canadian national team. He's here not just looking at the other players, but especially looking at Corey Joseph and Tristan Thompson, who right now are members of the under-19 Canadian junior national team. They're going to be playing for the big team soon. Corey Joseph, good give and go from Tristan Thompson, delivers it to Ennis Kanter from Turkey. Canada to Turkey. Long distance ball.
And Kanter has 30 points now. Barnes with the basketball, defended by Corey Joseph. Inside Jared Sullinger. He's so strong down low.
Second year in a row, Steve, we're treated to an excellent fourth quarter of basketball. It's all you can ever ask for in an all-star game, but it's still competitive in the fourth quarter. We've got a good one here tonight.
And Sullinger is playing with 4 fouls. LeBron almost tied up by Irving.
5 fouls, international fouls, you're out. It's not 6 like the NBA.
There's Corey Joseph from Canada. He's been very physical and playing excellent defense in that third quarter, and then seeing the U.S. team come back in the fourth quarter. Mirotic is back in the game. He's from Montenegro in Spain. Joseph tied up, and he is fouled by Kyrie Irving.
We talked about no fear in the world guards. Corey Joseph's going against Kyrie Irving. You're talking that's two of the best point guards in high school basketball in the United States this year. But they're going to be two of the better point guards playing in college basketball for the next couple of years.
Fine shooter, but missing the first free throw badly.
He was trying to pull it back the second he left his hand. He was wide left.
Misses both of them. And his Kanter. First try, they knocked it down, and the world team is tied at 85. It's Musli from Serbia.
The Bruise brothers, Turkey and Serbia. Look at the two of them inside. 1, 2, 3, fourth is a charm. They do a tip drill like that when you were playing school. You tap it over the top to your teammate. You're wondering why there's no violations called. Again, internationally, if the shot goes in, there's no violation. Whether the defense went in too soon or the offense went in too soon. It looks ugly. They really should clean that up.
Barnes missing the three. Sullinger taps it in. He has been terrific in the fourth quarter.
Neither team's bigs are able to do anything with their opponents.
I know American bigs have got trading phone calls. You talk about it.
Thad Matta is just delighted. Of course, he was there. Evan Turner got the Player of the Year last night. He's got a Player of the Year in high school, Player of the Year in college.
Kanter, give him 32.
Dirk's going to have to come back if he wants a record. He's going to have to count his points from last night.
Dirk Nowitzki, PJ's talking about in 1998, scored 33 points. That still is the all-time record for both teams. And this is the man inside, Jones. Irving with the rebound, the smartest man on the court, knocks it in.
Terrence Jones kept it alive, and then Kyrie Irving from Elizabeth, New Jersey, St. Patrick's High School with the finish.
And it's Kanter from Turkey setting the screen. He's got 32 points and 12 rebounds. Looking to be the MVP of this classic. Musli loses it. It still has not hit on. And that's a shot clock violation, so the USA junior national team will get it leading by 1 at the 2-minute mark.
Rob Beveridge is upset. He thought it was a foul. He's motioning the referee, Jose Carrera. Milo Brun made a good play because he got the ball in the corner. Looked like he kind of chucked it up there, but as you said, the shot clock was on his back. Jared Sullinger picking up what he did in the first half. A little bit quiet in the third quarter, but the big man, the Buckeye, coming alive here in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line. Strong, head fake, finish. He accepts the foul and the finish. 22 points for Jared Sullinger, but also 4 personal fouls. Sweet left-hand move inside off the spin.
Love his game. The world team has suffered 6 turnovers in the fourth quarter. The USA team putting more pressure on.
That's been the difference in the game. Every time the world team has turned the ball over, that's enabled the U.S. to score. When they take care of the ball and don't turn it over, it's been very, very difficult for the United States to score against the zone in the half court.
So much for that ball game with 22 points. His teammate Harrison Barnes, who was co-player of the year on some publications. Barnes has 24. I believe 16 from the floor. Sullinger and Barnes may be competing against each other. Sullinger from Ohio State, the Big Ten Conference, and of course Barnes, the ACC's North Carolina Tar Heels.
They'll be competing, and it'll be regular season and definitely in NCAA tournaments. How about turnabout? Third quarter, 33-12 in favor of the world. Fourth quarter, 27-14 so far in favor of the U.S. junior national team.
Brandon Knight, he's in the game. He won the McDonald's Classic last week. The last second shot, they get it inside. It's bounced around, controlled by Kanter of Turkey. And a foul. Will go against Terrence Jones.
Careless foul for the U.S., and they've already committed 5. 5 gets you in the bonus internationally, so they'll shoot 2. 5 fouls each quarter. Excuse me, Steve. That's bonus in international play.
So Enes Kanter, who can tie Dirk Nowitzki's all-time record in the Nike Classic with Nike Hoop Summit, with couple of free throws here. He has 32 points, 12 of 21 and 6 of 7 from the free throw line.
I think we might have, well, they're giving the foul to Jared Sullinger, I think is what they're saying. If that's true, it's 5 fouls. Jared saying I didn't do anything.
I thought it was Terrence Jones. Sullinger fouls out. They lose 8, and man in the middle who's really been able to make them down.
22 points, 8 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, and a block shot. You can understand why he was selected Player of the Year in the country by Naismith and by Parade Magazine.
We might have our MVP here, the guy who's the MVP of the Turkish Under-18 Championship.
He's the MVP of the European Championships.
That's a new Nike Hoop Summit record, 34 points by one individual player. Turkey's Enes Kanter going to Kentucky.
1-point game.
Harrison Barnes giving it up to Kyrie Irving. Irving scores! Remember, no goaltending for hitting the net. USA leads by 1. Corey Joseph and Kanter back in the game, running the point, and Irving will defend him.
The U.S. has already committed their shares, and we'll be shooting bonus if there's a foul.
Goes back in front by 1.
Nikola Mirotic from Montenegro playing in Spain. Put the ball down with his left hand, impressive finish, going to the rack.
These guys really getting after it. You can see the timeouts left.
Plenty of timeouts. We have a lot of players here who are willing to step up and take the big shot.
And Harrison Barnes is one of them, and he gives USA a 2-point lead with a big 3. He's got 27 points now.
Coaches are not going to need timeouts. These players know what to do.
Joseph sneaks in and ties the game at 94.
Beautiful basketball. Young man from Canada, Toronto, Corey Joseph.
Well, the hot man has been Harrison Barnes. They've got to look his way. He's open on the left wing. Instead, it's Irving on the basket. A chance for 3.
The little man goes inside again, switches hands, left-handed finish inside as he's knocked to the ground. Changeover in from West Orange, New Jersey to Durham, North Carolina. Kyrie Irving.
Foul went against Serbia's Musli.
That's the 4th for the world team, so both teams now in the penalty. These last 45 seconds.
3-point edge for the USA Junior National Team. 40 seconds to play. Mirotic continues to slide in. This time knocked out to Terrence Jones. And they foul immediately. Nikola Mirotic from Montenegro, and then playing for Spain, picks up the personal foul. Harrison Barnes, what a game, 27 points, 7 rebounds, and he and Sullinger were the 2 key impact players in the 4th quarter.
He's so quick. You saw him get the offensive rebound. He spots up there on the perimeter. Again, doesn't matter whether his feet are set, which they are for both of those jump shots, or he catches it on the run coming off the screen.
Terrence Jones at the free throw line averaged 30 points and 14 rebounds, 6 assists per game at Portland Jefferson, leading his team to another state championship. He misses the second. Patrick Young trying for the rebound and will go out of bounds to the World Select team. 27.6 seconds left. Is there a foul on the play?
They call him over the top, Fizz. Yeah. You like Patrick Young's aggressiveness, but you got to understand that first free throw by Terrence Jones made it a 2-possession game. Can't afford to commit an offensive rebound foul right there. It's the only thing that really would have helped the world. They walk 94 feet, they're going to get 2 free throws.
Does the World Select team have an advantage because they play all of these rules 24/7 clock, 8 seconds?
Yes, they do, for sure.
Musli misses the foul shot, so still it is a 2-possession game.
It's a big miss because, again, had they gotten it down to 2 before the foul, now they're going to need some cooperation from the U.S. Either a turnover or a free throw miss.
Musli makes 1 of 2.
Got a foul.
seconds left. I thought that the World Select team would foul earlier than that.
I think they would have too. Again, you can't stop the clock. That's the difference. It's not like in the U.S. like you can take it down and then shot as the 24-second clock runs out, you can stop it. You can't stop it internationally. Coach has to call the timeout from the sideline, so they really should have fouled. They go for a couple steals, that's all right. They should have fouled quicker. Right now, huge free throw for Terrence Jones.
He makes it a two-possession game.
That's where that Musli miss going to kill the world team.
Corey Joseph off the dribble, slides along the baseline and goes out of bounds.
They didn't give him the foul, but that's a tough play. Corey Joseph was tripped. Rob Beveridge is really upset.
Rob out of the floor and talking with the officials.
Well, you see Corey Joseph try and turn the corner right there. He catches his right arm on Kyrie Irving. That's a tough play. If you're not going to call the foul, you got to give him the ball back. You got to give him a chance right there. It's a tough call against the world team.
Last year, the world team beat the U.S. team 97-89 before a record crowd of 11,246 at the Rose Garden. This year, it was the U.S. junior national team coming back in the fourth quarter after being outscored 33-12 in the third quarter. They tightened up their defense. Full court pressure led to a lot of turnovers, and they made their shots. And Jared Sullinger with 22 points and Harrison Barnes with 27 points were the two leaders. And there's the way they played in the fourth quarter. 37-21.
Huge fourth quarter key by the defense. They created some turnovers that got the break going. Talked about the big guys inside, Harrison Barnes, and down the stretch, Kyrie Irving with a number of big plays, an offensive rebound, an assist, a basket going to the rim, a penetration, and convert the free throw. Big free throw miss for the world team. They've dug themselves a huge hole right now.
Kyrie Irving comes out of the floor, 9.6 seconds left in a two-possession game. We'll also have Patrick Young, Terrence Jones, Brandon Knight, and Harrison Barnes.
No choice right now. If you don't steal the inbounds pass, you have to foul immediately.
They get it into Terrence Jones, and he is fouled immediately. It took a second and a half off the clock. Great competition this has been. I mean, last year, this year,
this is an excellent basketball. If you like basketball, you saw a lot of talented young players right now from all over the world. I love the way the international guards hung in. A lot of players stepped up and played really well. I'm really impressed with the game. I like the respect both teams had. They competed. I like the job both coaches did. Rob Beveridge trying to keep it in the half court. Bob Semino trying to create turnovers and play full court. It's a very well-played game, very impressive, and a lot of young men acquitted themselves very well.
Mirotic getting it inside and slamming it home is Rob Lowe. Musli. 2 seconds left. Kyrie Irving will dribble it out, and the USA junior national team knocks off the World Select team as they come back with an incredible fourth quarter to win 101-97. Let's go to Rebecca Harlow.
Down here with Harrison Barnes. Now, the world team, just like last year, their bigs trying to take over that game. How did you capitalize on turnovers, get the stops you needed down the stretch?
We just kind of came together as a team, and we had a lot of rebounds.
You guys talked about how important it was to get this win back from the world team. What does it mean to do this for Team USA in your first outing?
It's great. I'm glad we were able to met the goals.
Now, you play with a whole lot of poise and confidence, not a high school player at all. How do you maintain that focus?
I just focus on where I need to get, and tonight I was getting that win.
Congratulations, Harrison. The USA team gets that win back from the World Fizz.
Harrison Barnes with a great game, 27 points to lead the U.S. team. And they come from behind and knock off the World Select Team 101-97. Now, this is Steve Physiak for PJ Carlesimo and Rebecca Harlow saying so long from the Rose Garden and Portland, Oregon, where the U.S. team survives, winning by 4. You've been watching the 2010 Nike Hoop Summit.